Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing? It is 10:38 p.m. and I am on my way to go pick up my good Judy. Tanya Jean Applestein, prettiest girl I've ever seen. And I just left my brother-in-law's house, Carlos's house, because we had a family barbecue today at Carlos and Liliana's, and they were there, and then my nephews, Carlitos and Sebastian, were there, and then their friend that lives there from Venezuela was there, and then Alex's mom was there, his grandma was there, his aunt was there, his uncle was there, and who else? Oh, a neighbor that his mom is really good friends with was there, and then Fufu and Jesse are visiting from San Diego. So we had a great time. It was fun. And thank God to my husband who stopped on the way and got hummus and peanuts, because that was basically what I ate at the barbecue. And then earlier today, I just got up and we slept in today late because Alex got in so late last night from picking up his mom. Where are my chopsticks that I love so much? He got home, so he dropped her off, and then his grandma made a rapist because Fufu and his girlfriend stayed at his mom's house last night, so they were waiting up for her. And so Alex ate breakfast over there, and then he came home, so he got home at like 7:15. I actually fell asleep about 6 o'clock. I cannot find my lips, my chappy in here that I love. It's not in here. What the hell? Oh, I think I may have thrown it in the back seat when I did my review video. Well, I'm gonna have to go back there and find it. So anyway, I have peanuts caught up in my mouth. Don't you hate that? So anyway, so yeah, we were over there forever. And, oh, then Sarah came by. Alex's friend Sarah came by like the last hour. We were supposed to hang out with his friend, our friend that's in town from Dallas, but Alex was texting him all night long and he never heard from him. So I think he and Sarah are just going to hang out there. He might go back to her apartment and hang out, and I'm going to go get a phone call with Tanya. Everybody, the party was kind of settling down. Oh, some of Fufu's friends stopped by at the end. So Alex's mom, this is what she brought me. She brought me this magnet from Valencia. Isn't that cool? Because we collect magnets for a refrigerator. And then she brought me, are you ready? Beast. She brought me this fan. It is so beautiful, you guys. It's like the front of it, you can't see really. It's like two separate fans. Like this is cloth back here. And then this side is like, almost kind of like this glassy plastic. And it says Barcelona, Spain on it. How cool is that? Thumbnail. Anyway, but we had fun. We sat outside. It's a beautiful summer night. It's 69 degrees. It's perfect weather outside. We played baseball with the kids for a while. Alex got some video of me playing baseball. They were kind of surprised that I could actually even hit it, but you know, I did play tennis back in the day, and baseball's kind of similar in some ways, like to at least hit the ball. Yeah, and then when I left, Carlos was like blasting the music inside, and Liliana was cleaning up, and his grandma was outside sleeping, and the chair is so nice outside. They live next to this little lake, and with like a fountain, you can hear it's really pretty. And Alex's mom had just gone to sleep on the couch when I was leaving. She actually got up to give me my present before I left. And then Fufu's friends are in there. He had like 2 friends visiting. And so he was inside talking to them. And then Carlos was helping. Carlos and their friend were helping clean up. And then Alex and Sarah and I and Jesse were outside talking. We were talking about like what kind of stuff we're going to do in San Diego when we go visit. And they were giving like, we're going to rent a boat maybe one day. And then they're talking about some brunch places and going hiking one day. And then there's a music festival that we're going to while we're there too. I may only go to one day. We'll see. You can buy like day passes. So I think I'm only going to go one day. We'll see. But it was fun. Yeah. So that was my day. I made videos earlier. Alex went over, he got up and like changed and whatever, and then he went over there he went to Urban Outfitters to exchange some stuff, and then he went over to their house, and he got there about 6:30 while I was filming videos and stuff. I filmed a couple of them from my car. Well, I filmed all my videos from my car today. And then I went home and uploaded them, and I got over there about 7, something like that. Yeah. I actually, today, I forgot my cup for Starbucks. And so I bought this. You can buy it. It's $3.21. And I'm just going to keep it in my car. I'm going to wash it out and keep it in the back seat. So whenever I forget my cup, I have one. So it's like a plastic little recyclable cup. See? Isn't it fun? And then my friend that just moved back here, he and his daughter are in Bloomington seeing Lucinda Williams, who I love. Oh, I used to listen to Lucinda Williams back in the day so much. And he's on his way back home. So when Tanya and I are done, I may go see him and his daughter and hang out for a little bit. We'll just have to see. Depends on what time they get back. I mean, Bloomington's like an hour and a half, 2-hour drive from here. So that means they wouldn't be back in town till like midnight or so. Anyway, I don't know. We'll see. Doesn't really feel like a Saturday night, but they were telling us about this house and this town that they go to and how cute it was in Michigan and all this kind of stuff. We had a good time. So last night, you guys, I started American Predator, which is the book club selection for Peter's Book Club this month. And I listened to half of it. It is so good, you guys. It is so, so good and very scary too. And it starts off, it's about Israel Keys, who was one of the most prolific serial killers in our country. I don't know anything about him, and that's how they defined it. One of the most prolific, was that the word that they used? I don't know. But anyway, well, I know a lot about him now because I just started reading the book. But it starts off with this girl, and she goes missing, and she's working in this like coffee kiosk. They have these it's called Common Coffee or something, and they have these coffee kiosks in Alaska. It actually, one of the things that's interesting about it is that the end of it takes place in 2012, and his killing rampage was like 14 years. The majority of the book, like that first half that I'm on, takes place in 2012. So it's really all about that, and this missing girl and their investigation, and the Anchorage Police Department and the FBI, and how they work in coordination together or against each other, because that's part of it too. And the prosecutor, how the prosecutor's kind of working against them, and one of the things I think is interesting about this is about how they all have to kind of like be on the same playing field, and not like, because they all want to be the first one to anyway, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but it's just really interesting. It's interesting how, like, the investigators and the FBI agents and the prosecutor and stuff, like, they have to be on the same, team, but they're not necessarily on the same team, and they don't like each other, and how that can affect a case. And so it's by Maureen Callahan, and she goes into a lot of discussion about, like, but really from their point of view, because she did like 200 hours of interviews with all these investigators. But the thing is, it's interesting about this book, I know Mel likes it because Mel texted me and told me that she really likes it, and I think she may have finished it already. It is one of the most beautifully written true crime books ever. People say that In Cold Blood by Truman Capote was really beautifully written. I didn't think so. I thought it was really just a lot of facts, and there was a lot of creative liberty about that case, and I did not enjoy that book. In Cold Blood, I just didn't love it. But this book is beautifully written. It really, really is. And one of the things that she does that's interesting is she, the author, Maureen Callahan, she makes Alaska, like the state of Alaska, kind of, and the weather and the temperament and the people that live there and what it kind of characterizes them. And she makes Alaska itself a character, which is so interesting the way that she does it. And like, the story wouldn't be, I mean, obviously it's true, so it did take place in Anchorage, but like, it wouldn't be, I think, as interesting if it was just like told straightforward, and it wasn't like, she doesn't go in, like, she quotes James Michener a lot at the beginning of the book. Well, James Michener wrote, he's like a real famous author. He writes these huge books. I don't know why my nose is itching all of a sudden, but he writes these huge books, and one of them he wrote was called Alaska. So she goes in and she quotes Michener a couple times. She also references Silence of the Lambs in regards to this one investigator. And she references a lot of different like literature that's out there about true crime and about the state of Alaska. And she quotes like some poetry in there, I think, at one point. And it's a beautifully written true crime book. It really is. It's really, I mean, it's enjoyable to listen on top of the case. It's super interesting, and I don't know anything about this case. So, you know, there's all these different characters, like this FBI agent who's just fantastic. His name is Payne, and he's such a character. And then there's this, the lead police investigator who's kind of young, and she's like this glamorous looking police detective. Her name is, I think, Doll or Doll, and they say that I think it might be Doll, I'm not sure, because at one point she said she looks like her name or something is fitting, but she's really, really good, like Clarice Starling from Silence of the Lambs. And then there's this Texas Ranger named Rayburn. Like, I'm an actual Texas Ranger, and I didn't know a whole lot about Texas Rangers, so that part is really, really interesting. And this whole, like, takedown in Texas happens, and the investigation, and then Israel Key's family is super, super religious. One of the things that's really, and like this weird kind of, like, religious cult that I had never heard of, it's called, like, the Church of Wells, which is Wells, Texas, and they even kind of reference David Koresh in there. There's so many things that factor into this case that it's all over the place, and it's like so well written, and it's so interesting. I love it. And it just came out. It was July 2nd, I think it came out. And yeah, it's really well done. It's really interesting to listen to. So I will probably finish that tonight or tomorrow. I don't know. I'm about halfway done. I think I have like 2.5 hours left of it to listen to. So not 2.5 hours total. I have like, 5 hours left, which is 2.5 hours for me. Because as you know, I listen to books at 2 times speed. But if you haven't picked it up and you're not part of the book club, this might be a month to try, because it is really, really good. And it's more of a current case. He's really, like, out there. Like, some of the stuff, like, you know what, with a corpse and all that. It's out there. And, so anyway, yeah, but you should, like, if you like true crime, you'll like this. And I looked him up, and he's real normal looking. He was really normal looking. I figured out the age. So I would have been 40 in 2012, right? Yeah. Which means that he would have been, because he was 6 years younger than me, so he would have been 34 at the time that he was caught for these killings. And it's really random how they catch him too. So it's super, super interesting. So if you're looking for a book to pick up, do that. But okay, I'm almost at Tanya Jean, so I will be back here in 2 and 2, or in a little while. Bye. Okay, I'm back. Just dropped off Tanya Jean, and I was talking to my husband. And he is leaving his mom's right now, and he is going to meet up with our friend at this bar in Broderpool for a little bit. And Broderpool is like where all the college bars are, and I'm like, he was like, do you want to go? And I was like, no thanks. Ask him to come to brunch with us tomorrow, or I'll see him tomorrow, because I am not going out to the college bar scene tonight. And so he's going out there for a little bit. But anyway, so I'm gonna vlog until my battery starts to flash. Oh, it's starting to flash now, so I guess I'm gonna have to go home and get the battery. But before I do, I want to say this really quick. And then I'll go home and I'll get the battery, and then I'll finish my vlog. But I want to say happy belated birthday to Madison. Madison asked me for a shout out on the 8th. You guys, I literally get so many birthday requests for birthday shout outs now that I started doing it. So if I miss yours, I apologize. But I'm literally getting like 20, 30 a day across all different kinds of things. And people are asking me to shout out their brothers and sisters. And I have been contacted literally at this point like 10 times by that Cameo, and I wasn't gonna do it, but then I was like, you know what, like if people wanted, you can pay for like me to give you like a private message or something like that. And so I'm kind of looking to see what other people like charge and what I think, you know, is like mid-range fare and whatever. And so I'm gonna do the Cameo thing. If you guys want to do it, you can do it. You don't have to. I'll probably set that up sometime this week. I keep on getting the emails from them. So, and actually Amelia Farr, she does it, and she recommended to them for me, because she, like, when I met her, she was like, you should do Cameo, I'm gonna recommend you, it would be good for you. And I was like, oh, okay. So she's like, I do it and I love it and it's so much fun and whatever. And so she like has nothing bad to say about it. She's like, it's great, I love it. So I'm gonna set that up. A lot of YouTubers do. There's like actually a lot of famous people on there that do it. So I wanted to give a shout out, a happy birthday belated shout out to Madison. I'm sorry I missed her birthday on the 8th. And to Brittany, whose birthday is on the 14th, I want to shout you out a little early happy birthday. birthday. I guess her birthday is this Wednesday, which is the 14th. So happy early birthday to Brittany. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, Brittany and Madison. A little fake vibrato. Okay, I'm gonna go home and get the other battery, and then I will be back. Bye. Oh my God, it's still flashing, so I have a little extra time. Do you know last night when I said it just faded to black and it was really done? Okay, when I was uploading the video today, I realized what happened. When I was in line at McDonald's to take it around and get my Diet Coke instead of my Coke, the battery stopped, and so no, not the battery. It went to 20, so it goes to like 23 point so many seconds, and then it stops. Like, that's when I say, like, oh, I'm at the end of the tape, and now it's blurry. Come on. It actually ran out when I was in line, and I didn't realize because I was looking this way, so it stopped, but I thought it was still filming. I didn't know I had gone to the end, and so then what happened was I thought it was still filming, and so I keep on talking into the camera, and then the camera shut itself off, because if you don't record for like a minute or two, all of a sudden the camera just goes to black and shuts off. Like the battery, like it turns the camera off itself to save energy or save battery, and I didn't know that, so I was like, I thought it just like completely faded to black, and that's not what it was. I was at the end of the 23 minutes, so that's what happened last night. I was like so worried that I was gonna have to get a new camera. So anyway, that's what happened, and I figured that out, and I'm real thankful about that. Okay, I am gonna go get the other battery, and then I will be back into the Chuck Woolery. Bye. Okay, I'm back. And I'm not really sure which battery I brought. I'm not sure if I brought the battery that I needed to charge or the battery that was charged. But needless to say, I only have one battery, and the other battery is... Okay, what is it doing? This thing is like floating around. Hold on a second. You can't see it, but it's driving me crazy. It doesn't matter. It just means it's going to help me focus, I guess, or something. I don't know. It's like in the background, it's doing all this kind of stuff. I have to stop it. Hold on, it's driving me nuts. Is it gone? It's still there. What did I do? Hold on a second. It has this thing called AF. I don't know what that AF is. Okay, I think that's it. Is it off? What does that mean? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna turn it off again. When in doubt, you just turn the camera off and you turn it back on, and then it just resets itself. That's called being real technological. Okay, we're on our way to go get a Diet Coke. Now, let me just tell you what a loser I am. It's 1:32 a.m. now. I've been at the house for a while. Alex literally came home, dropped, I guess he went with Sarah. She dropped her car off, her car's in the driveway, and then they went together. But anyway, let me tell you what a loser I am. I literally went down in the basement and started cleaning. That's what my Saturday night included. I mean, it needed to be cleaned out 10 years ago, but everything's like organized into stuff, and so I have all these books that I'm like, so I've gone through all the books, and now I just have on top of this desk the books that I want to keep, and so I'm going through that, and a lot of them are so stupid. A lot of them are like Dean Koontz books and James Patterson books, and I'm like going through them, and I'm like, well, I could keep these for the supermarket reads thing that I do on my booktube channel. So I'm like, I better not. Here, listen to my window again. That was driving Tanya crazy earlier. I was like, well, I might want to keep those and then read them, then I wouldn't have to buy new books at half-price books for the supermarket reads. So I was like going through those, and then I have some books of mine that are like favorites. I have some books that I know that you can't get anywhere else. So I would say I have about 50 books left that I'm keeping, but the other thing that I need to do is I need to go through the bookshelf, because on the bookshelf there are a lot of books that I'm never going to read, that I haven't read. So I need to go through there and clean those books out and decide which ones I want to keep. So I need to do that sometime soon. And then I just, you know, then the book situation's dealt with. And then I can go on to DVDs and VHS tapes. Things with like the VHS thing is like, I don't know if I want to get rid of those, because I don't know, like you can't really get those things anymore. I guess like, I think I'm gonna go through them, and if they're movies that you can get like on Amazon or Netflix, I'm just gonna get rid of them, donate them to Goodwill, or sell them to half-price books. But if they're not, and like the same thing with DVDs, if they're like movies that, I think I'm gonna keep like this, like I have a lot of television series. I have like the sets But then I have things in there like I'm never gonna watch, like Heroes and stuff like that. So, I bought that and I don't even think I watched it. It's a little muggy out tonight, even though it's nice outside, 66 degrees. It's starting to get a little muggy. So yeah, I sat down in the basement, and then I just put a load of wash in, and gave PB his meds, and now here I am. And I'm gonna vlog for a little while, but I don't think I'm gonna vlog for a super long time. I know I always say that, and then I end up vlogging forever, but I know I really don't think I'm going to, because I wanna listen to some of my audiobook tonight. And we are having brunch with Fufu and his girlfriend tomorrow, so I don't wanna be up too late tonight. Somebody said something when I was reading the comments about I should do a vlog video about the comments in the vlog. I would, but like the problem is that there's not like, I mean, I've done that a couple times actually on here, but the thing is that the vlog doesn't have like a lot of things to comment on, if that makes sense. Like, there's like a lot of blue hearts. I mean, I love everything that's on there, but there's like a lot of blue hearts, or people just saying, oh, I relate to this. My Aunt Susie did the same thing, or whatever, you know? So it's like, I mean, I can read them and I can respond to them, if that would mean something to you guys. Like, I mean, I'll stop in a second and I'll do that for some of them. But, yeah. Okay, so when I was getting out of the car, I took the battery out of the camera and it dropped in between my seat, and so I had to go behind and had to get it out, and I scraped my thumb, and I literally scraped like a layer of skin off my thumb. It hurt so bad. I was kind of thinking that I wanted a cup of coffee. It's like when I'm listening to these true crime books, all these police officers drink so much coffee. I was like, I think I might want a cup of coffee, but it won't keep me up. I can drink coffee like right before I go to bed, and it like puts me to sleep. I think it's really because I'm like so ADHD that whenever I drink caffeine, you know, it has the opposite effect on me. Like, you know, when you give somebody ADHD, when you give a stimulant to somebody that has ADHD, you know, which is like why they use Adderall and things like that and Concerta, because it's like the counter effect. This neighborhood in here is beautiful. I love it. Just big trees, and we had so much fun tonight just sitting outside. It was so fun. Alex's grandma makes this cake, and she's so funny because she's like, everybody's like, what's it called? And she's like, it's coconut cake. And they're like, what's the coconut cake called? She's like, coconut cake. And they're like, no, but like, it's a special name. She's like, yeah, coconut cake. She's like exactly like my aunt's size, and so when my aunt passed away, I gave her like a lot of my aunt's clothes that Caroline didn't want anymore that are really nice. And when we went to the Palladium to go to that American Songbook competition, my aunt had like this, it looked like it was Chanel, but it wasn't Chanel. It was like a St. John suit or something. I mean, it was a very nice suit, but it just, you know, was kind of like a knockoff looking. And Alex's grandma had it on. It was white and black, and she looked so good in it. And I was like, it totally reminded me of my Aunt Kathy. My Aunt Kathy always dressed up. She always looked so nice. And Alex's grandma always dresses up. And we were sitting out there tonight. She was just sitting in a chair, and I looked over at her, and I thought, and she had like this blouse on, and I was like, that was one of my Aunt Kathy's blouses, and it's so pretty. And I was like, I'm so happy that she enjoys that stuff, you know. Alex's grandma is a huge reader. I don't know if it was last Christmas. I think I started it 2 Christmases ago, maybe 3 Christmases ago. But I go to like Half Price Books. Half Price Books has a really great section that's all like books that are in Spanish. And so I go through there and I just like pick out like 5 or 10 books for her. And she likes you know, like modern day pulp novels. Like, why wouldn't you? So I'll get her whatever that's available that's like brand new or like out in the last 2 years, you know, on the bestseller list. But then she likes like spiritual books too, and so I always try to find something like that, you know, like prayer books in Spanish and things things like that, because she really enjoys reading a lot of that. She also, like, interestingly enough, Alex's mom asked me, so Alex's grandma, you know, I don't speak very much Spanish, but I can understand some of it. But, like, Alex's grandma, she speaks, like, no English whatsoever. I mean, she understands a little bit. She's 89 years old. Okay, so I don't think she's going to be learning tons of English anytime soon. Not that that means anything. I mean, I'm sure an 89-year-old could learn English, but I mean, she's literally just around her family, you know? So anyway, so they translate a lot between us. I mean, whenever I go there, I always give her a kiss, and there's like this thing that you say to your elders, and, you know, I always say, you know, hola, and say all that, and then, you know, she'll say, como esta? Anyway, so I mean, I can speak a little bit, you know, of Spanish to just, like, you know, back and forth with her just at the beginning. But, Alex's grandma asked Alex's mom if I knew of, like, good recovery memoirs. Because apparently she was, like, watching something on TV. So I think it was 2 Christmases ago, I got her, like, some recovery memoirs. I had found some that were, like, translated into Spanish, and I got them and gave those to her. She was, like, real interested in that, like, alcoholic and addict memoirs, which I thought that was kind of interesting. But she seemed to really enjoy them. She reads a lot, and she listens to the radio a lot too. Like, she'll have the computer up. She just stands there in the kitchen and drinks coffee. Like, she's so cute. And whenever she makes a pot of coffee, like, she constantly has coffee on, and she knows that I love coffee. And so, like, tonight she came out, and she'll, like, put her hand on my shoulder, and she'll say, Peter, she'll say coffee, and she'll, like, point inside, and that means, like, you know, you can go have some coffee. So she's so sweet. And I got her a Keurig, and she uses that, but, like, this was at Carlos's house, and so she stays over there sometimes, but she lives with Alex's mom in the apartment. So they have the Keurig and stuff over there, and Alex's mom was like, she uses it all the time. She loves that Keurig. And, but anyway, what was I gonna say about the coffee? Oh, she stands in the kitchen. Well, at his mom's house, she, like, sits at his mom has, like, this really high top, like, kitchen table with, like, you know, 6 chairs on it, or 8 chairs or something, and she sits there, and she has the computer open, and she listens to, like, the radio, like, the news in Venezuela, because, you know, like, she knows so many people that are still, I mean, like, everybody that she knows, except for her close family, is in Venezuela. And so all of her kids are here. So Alex's mom is here, and Alex's mom moved here first, which was when Alex was 12. So she's been here 23 years. And then Alex's aunt moved here, his Aunt Jackie. She moved here, like, 2 years later. And then Alex's uncle, he kind of goes back and forth, like, his business. So his business has stuff to do in Venezuela and stuff to do in the United States. It's like, they have offices in both places, so he goes back and forth. And so then Alex's cousin, his uncle's daughter, Nina, she was on my very first vlog I ever did. That was for New Year's. She lives in San Francisco. And then Alex's cousin, Maya, Jackie's daughter, lives, and that's Ed's stepdaughter, lives in Las Vegas. And we're getting ready to see her and stuff. And then the Nina's sister, she still lives in Venezuela, but she comes back and forth a lot. She was just in, like, Miami, I think. And then where did Nina go? She went to go visit her somewhere. Oh, they went and, like, rented a house in Key West or something. So, yeah. So all of Alex's grandma's family is here, and her husband passed away like 8 years ago. Is it that long ago? Because that's when Alex's mom went down there, because he was really sick. And she was down there for a long time, and then that's when she came back, was when his grandma came back with them. So she's always listening to, like, what's going on there and the news and everything, and the civil war and the civil unrest in Venezuela. And she just gets really upset about it. And I don't understand a lot of it because, of course, she's speaking in Spanish, and then, you know, she'll hear news reports from family and stuff. But, like, what's really weird a lot of times is that they have, like, a lot of friends that come and visit. And so, like, Alex's mom has a lot of people that come here and visit. And Carlos and Liliana have a lot of people that come here and visit. And, like, Liliana's sisters will come and visit sometimes and stuff. And, like, they always act like there's not really... I mean, they'll say it's bad. They'll go, oh, yeah, it's really, really bad. But, like, they're not in any rush to leave. Like, they still love it there, you know? So, I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine leaving your country, you know? Like, in your home that you've been in your entire life. And I know it was a huge decision, you know? But anyway... for all of them, but apparently it's super, super dangerous there. And his mom's always talking about it. And then his grandma, if she's not doing that, she's watching her shows, her stories. She watches telenovelas, and she, like, loves them. She watches them all the time. Tanya and I were talking tonight. So Tanya, back in the day, was, I thought she still was, she would, like, watch her stories. She watched soaps constantly. I think she watched, I don't know which channels or what anymore, because when I watched soaps back in the day growing up, my grandma got me hooked on them, and then I watched them all straight through high school. I mean, I literally watched them all through high school. My grandma, it's all her fault. And my grandma that went to prison, that one, that smoked Salem's. Caroline and I were talking about her the other day. Caroline's like, I don't know how you, like, remember all this stuff about grandma that I don't remember. I was like, well, I spent a lot of time with grandma because I had a single mother, so grandma was around a lot. But my grandma, she'd always watch her stories, and we would watch, well, we didn't watch the half-an-hour ones, if you know what I'm talking about. There would be the news from 12 to 12:30, and then there would be, like, 12:30 to 1. There'd be, like, one, and it would be called, like, Fantasy or something. We didn't watch that. But we watched All My Children, One Life to Live, and General Hospital. And it was on Channel 6. It was ABC, I think. Those were the ones that we watched back in the day. I mean, I can tell you, oh, my husband is FaceTiming me. Oh, God, hold on a second. He is going to be calling 1-8 because he's going to have his friend with him. I'm pulling into this retirement home. Hello?
Hi!
What are you doing? Because I don't want to go out to the college bars. Look at your hair.
Oh my God, get out of here. College bar.
I'll be back. Okay, that's our friend. We're going to brunch tomorrow. He was just like, Alex convinced me I'm going to brunch tomorrow. So, when I first started dating Alex, he and Alex and this other friend of ours who's now married, I just asked him where he was. He is at home sick, he said. We went to his wedding. But I think I talked about him the other night. Anyway, the three of them were like the best friends. They're like the best friends in the entire world. They had some nickname for the three of them, but they always used to go out and stuff like that. So anyway, then I come into the picture, and the other two don't have boyfriends, but me and Alex start dating. And so he starts like hanging out with us all the time. And so like when we would go out, like since he lived kind of far, he would like come over to our house, and then if we got home, I'd just be like, if he had been drinking, I'd just be like, I don't want you to drive, so just like stay here. So he would stay on our couch. And I used to have on the bookcase these two little like stuffed figures that I had gotten at Barnes & Noble. They were like stuffed animals, but I had them in the bookcase. They were like characters from some book, I can't remember. And he named this one, it's so funny, and I've saved it for him because I'm like, I'm gonna send it to him at some point. And I saved it, and his name is Monty. He named him Monty, and he was like, that's my, so whenever we would wake up the next day, we would go to like brunch or whatever. Well, brunch was Denny's back in those days. And we would go to Denny's and stuff, and he would be like, Monty wants to come, and Monty's my boyfriend, and he would like joke about Monty and all this kind of stuff. And so I still have Monty. I have kept Monty all these years, and I think he dated some guy named Monty, and that's why he called. I think, yeah, he dated this guy. We used to have nicknames for everybody, but I don't know, like that guy's real name I think was Monty, and like it didn't go well or whatever, and so like, and he really liked him, and so I think he ended up calling him this stuffed animal Monty. And he has like, he's like denim, and then he has like a tail. He looks like a mouse. It's funny. So anyway, So he was like, bring Monty to brunch tomorrow. Oh. Life is fun, isn't it? He was like, I'm moving back and I'm staying with you. And I go, oh. He goes, I'm not. I remember when he was a senior in college. So he's like 4 years younger than Alex, maybe. He's like 3 or 4 years younger than Alex. And so the year that I met him, Alex was 24. He was 21 or 20. He turned 22 the year I met him. When I started dating Alex, I was 36. He was 24, and our friend was 3 years. Well, he had already been going out, so he would have been turning 23. 24. He couldn't. Was he 3 years behind Alex? That can't be right. And he's only a year behind Alex? Or maybe he turned 22? I don't know. Maybe he had a fake or something. I don't know. But I'd seen him going out with Alex and his friend for a while. So anyway, but his senior year in college... Oh, no. He went, because he went part-time, full-time, because he worked full-time to pay for, or he worked full-time to pay for school. He used to work at Coach. And he got his degree in, like, fashion merchandising. And so anyway, his senior year, that summer, after he graduated, he wanted to move to New York, but first he saved money, and he went to Spain by himself for he went for like an entire month by himself. And I remember he was so scared, and when he came back, he was like a different person. Like and he's traveled like all over the world. He moved to New York by himself. He lived in New York for a long time, and then just recently, in the last couple years, he moved to Dallas. How old is he? Well, for his birthday, okay. So his birthday, I think, is in December? January? Remember, it was cold. We drove to Chicago. He planned this whole elaborate thing, but they didn't want to stay overnight. And so I was like, well, I'll drive back. If you guys want to go, I'll drive back. So we got there like early in the afternoon, and he had a movie he wanted to see that you could only see in Chicago. It was from the show back in the day that Logo used to show. And it was called Noah's Ark. Do you guys remember that show? And they had a movie called Jumping the Broom or something like that. I think it was called Noah's Ark Jumping the Broom. And he wanted to see it for his birthday. Like, that's the one thing he wanted to do. And it was only showing in Chicago. So, like, we went up there, we saw it, and then we went out to dinner to this Italian restaurant that he had found. And then we went out to the clubs and stuff like that. Maybe he's 2 years younger than Alex, and that was his 22nd birthday, and that was the year we started dating. So that would have been like August, September, October, November, December to January. It would have been like 4 or 5 months after I had met him, and we went up there. And I think he was turning 22. Yeah, he had to have been turning 22. So anyway, God, that means that he is 33 now. Like, that's crazy. But anyway, so Alex and I ended up, like, we went to a couple places, a couple bars up there, and we just weren't feeling it. And so anyway, but by the time that we were leaving, those two, the other friend that's now married and our friend that's in town, they were feeling it. Let me just tell you, okay? And we had to drive home, and I got lost in Gary, Indiana, on the way home, and it just was, I think I've actually shared about that story on here before, but it was a rough night. And I could not find my way out. And then finally I found the interstate. It's really not a bad drive from Indianapolis to Chicago. It's like Alex drove it home last night, and it took him I think right at 3 hours. And but you forget about the time change. So Chicago is an hour behind us. So when his mom got in at 1, it was 2 our time. So they didn't even get out of O'Hare until 2:30, which put them in Indianapolis at like, I don't know what time he got in, but he went over there and he ate, so he was eating. Oh, I just honked my horn. But like last night, he was like, yeah, the road was dead. But the problem is it's really kind of a pretty stretch of land. There's like this one area, I think I vlogged it on here actually, that you go and it's like those windmills. Didn't I vlog that on here? I think that might have been the part of the vlog that I ended up vlogging, and then it was when I met with Jessica Kent. It was when I met with her and did the video, you know, the girl that, you guys know who I did the video with. She's so sweet, I love her. I need to reach out to her. But when I was driving home and I did the vlog, I think that was when I like, the camera like broke or something happened and I like lost the footage of it. Do you remember? I don't even remember what happened now, but I remember like I didn't. Anyway. But I was like showing the windmills and stuff like that. But it's a really pretty drive, but it's kind of like, if you're by yourself, you kind of have to listen to some, you know. If I listen to an audiobook while I'm doing that, it's quick to make me tired. It's quick to make me tired. Oh, I didn't even go get my Diet Coke yet. Damnation. I have that song, I just said Damnation, and now I have the song Rhythm Nation by Janet Jackson stuck in my head because I'm such a huge Janet Jackson fan. We are a part of the Rhythm Nation. I used to know all the dance moves to If. Did you ever see that music video? It's a weird sound. Well, my friend never texted me. I guess he didn't want to hang out when he got back to Indianapolis. Oh well. What'd you do on this exciting Saturday night? I'm sure like they're like, that's not a college area. I'm like, it's where all the Butler people go to school or go out is Broad Ripple. It's like all those bars, like there's Brothers and Kilroy's. They're all like college sports bars. Oh. Gas is cheap over here. It's $2.55. I'm like, do I need gas? I should go in there and just get gas. That's cheap for Indianapolis right now. Tanya was so funny tonight. She's like, what are you going to talk about in your vlog? I'm so glad I remembered to say this because then it got me back on track when I was talking about my stories. But Tanya was like, what are you going to talk about in your vlog tonight? And I was like, I don't know. She was like, what do you mean you don't know? I go, I never know what I'm going to talk about in my vlog. She was like, but you don't like think about it before you get on there, like, oh, I should talk about this story, or I should tell that story, or I go, no, I never do. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about when I get on there. It just kind of goes from one thing to the next. It's total stream of consciousness. I said, oh, I'll probably talk about our shows that we were talking about. I was talking about that show that Alex watches where they have like their perfect match, and I'm like obsessed with that show. And she was talking about shows that she loves, Bachelorette in Paradise or Bachelor in Paradise, and it just started, she said. And then we were talking about Flipping Exes, that show that Alex's friend is in. And she really liked it too. And then we were talking because her husband loves this show called Heartland. Do you guys know what this show is? Tanya said she hates it. But like Eric is like obsessed with this show. He loves it. And Tanya was like, last night she wanted to watch something else, and apparently it came on last night. And so she didn't tell him that there were, I guess it was maybe on Netflix or something. She didn't tell him there was new episodes on there because she didn't want to watch the show last night. I was like, girl, I have done that before, let me tell you. So anyway, I'm about ready to do it with Pose. My God, that show is so depressing this season. It's so depressing. I think there's only one more episode left anyway. I mean, I love it, but it's just absolutely the most depressing show this season. So anyway, keeping you cool in traffic, Polar Pop. I had to like pull my eyes back. Polar Pop, 79 cents every day, only at Circle K. What was I gonna say? Do you know, that was like such a simple little billboard, but you know, there's probably so many meetings that had to go into that whole billboard just to convince us that we need a Polar Pop. And I do need a Polar Pop, but really not Circle K. I need a Diet Coke from McDonald's. So it totally, that was stupid that they placed that billboard right there. But anyway, Tanya was like, oh, I was talking about my grandma and watching the stories back in the day. My grandma would sit there and smoke one Salem Light after another, and I'd say, and drink a little. She drank, my grandma did not drink alcohol at all. She was a teetotaler. She hated, that's what my mom called her. She hated alcohol. And so she would drink those little Cokes that come in the little bottle, you know what I'm talking about? Sometimes she drank Cokes and cans, but then she would also drink coffee, and she'd drink coffee like in a cup and saucer. I don't know why I remember that, but I did. She always had these cups and saucers. And then I said to Caroline the other day, I said, do you remember Grandma had one of those ashtrays that had like a tower to it? It was like this glass ashtray. Some of you out there are dying. You're like, oh my God, my grandparents had the same ashtray. It was like this ashtray, and it was sitting next to your couch, but it was like, you know, like this level, and it had like this metal thing, and then you set the glass on the top of it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Oh my God, my grandma had one of those. She loved it so much. But anyway, and she'd just sit there and smoke, and I'd be like next to her on the couch, you know, I don't know, probably playing with Barbies or something. My grandma let me play with Barbies. She didn't care. Nobody cared I played with Barbies. I think, listen, they thought I was gonna be a fashion designer or something. No, none of them did. They all knew. Anyway, but I'd be asking my grandma questions. I'd be like, Grandma, and she'd be like, sweetie, not during, she'd say, sweetie, not during Grandma's stories. You know, Grandma's watching her stories right now. I mean, we didn't have no pause buttons back in the day. We had the turn dial on the TV. I mean, give me a break. She couldn't pause her stories. These are literally, the water sprinklers are literally, let me just show you. They're watering rocks at McDonald's.
Go ahead with your order.
Can I get a large Diet Coke, please?
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
109, first window.
If I get another Coke, I'm just gonna drink it tonight and not even complain about it. We are a part of the rhythm nation. But you know, let me just tell you something. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have like this whole attitude now that like, I mean, my grandma didn't snap at me. She wasn't hitting me. She wasn't doing none of that kind of stuff. She just was like, sweetie, not during Grandma's shows. You know what I mean? And I'd be like, okay, Grandma. And then I keep on playing, and then, you know, have my coloring books and everything like that. And then, you know, during her break of the show, she'd, you know, I don't know, go make me a bologna sandwich or something like that with some cheese on it. It was never real deep at my grandma's house. Do you know what she used to do? Hold on a second. I wonder if she said first window or second window. I think she said second window. Second window? Oh.
$109.
Look at those fancy nails. Those are nice.
Thank you.
Did you just get them done?
No, I need to get them redone. They've been done for like 2 weeks.
Literally every one is a different. I love them.
I know,
Thank you for letting me see. What?
I love colors.
Do you? Do you always do them different?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have such pretty eyes too.
Thank you.
Thank you. She had literally every nail, and they were like this long, was a different color, and they were like perfection. This poor woman, I swear to God, she used to work 23 straight days in a row. It's the same one from last night. She's gonna probably pitch that Coke right through the window at me, but she's so sweet. Thank you. Look, she was so friendly tonight. I think she was pissed about last night. She's like, Peter, it is not all about you. She don't even remember who I am. I swear, please be a Diet Coke, please. Thank you, Jesus. But anyway, my grandma, I don't know why I remember this, okay? But my grandma, first of all, could fry chicken like nobody's business, okay? Everybody wants to fight about frying chicken. Don't even fight about it, because my grandma could fry chicken like nobody's business. But anyway, I remember she'd like, this is what we would have for dinner. Fried chicken, okay? Or chicken pot pies. That was probably when Grandma was real busy watching her stories. She had this little apartment. I remember walking in there, and you could like, it's before you even, it was like one of those, she did not live in the nicest apartment building in the entire world, right? But she loved it because everybody that lived upstairs, they were all like, I didn't know it back then, but it was all, my grandma would say, oh, those are the dinner theater people. They're all Grandma's friends. And half of them I think were gay and stuff like that because he works at the dinner theater probably. But anyway, you'd always hear them upstairs and they'd be real loud. She'd be like, oh, those are just grandma's friends, they're having a party. And so there's this place in Indianapolis called Beef and Boards. And it's like dinner theater, and it's supposed to be real nice. Well, it is real nice. I've been there a couple times. I haven't been there in forever. Now they do church there on Sundays, which I think is real weird. I don't know why. My aunt used to go to church there sometimes on Sundays. It's called like the Garden or something now, and then they do church. Well, it's still called Beef and Boards, but they do like church there. I think it's right up here actually. They do church there like on Sundays, and it's called like the Grove or the Garden or something. I don't know, but anyway. But they used to do dinner theater, and they would have like all these musicals, and they would do like all like the standards, you know, like Annie Get Your Gun and Oklahoma and all these kinds of things. Well, my grandma would always take Caroline and I to go see Annie, and don't you think I didn't want to be Annie with Sandy the dog in the pocket and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I thought I was her. I would perform it to a records, right? Or to the records, you know, maybe far away. I thought I was her standing on that stage. My grandma, even one year, she bought me this little, I have it in the basement, this little Annie doll in the pocket with Sandy, and Sandy was like this little, I'll have to show you, I true story, do have it in the basement with everything else in the world's in that basement. But anyway, one time I said to Grandma, oh my God, I just saw the email about this the other day. Oh, I emailed her back, thank you. The person that got me the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas DVD, she emailed me and she said, oh, I was the one that bought it for you, and I emailed her back because I was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. So thank you so much. I don't remember who it was now, but I wanted to go see that show so bad because I knew that was the play that Dolly Parton had been in the movie, and I wanted to see it, and I loved Dolly Parton. I was obsessed with 9 to 5 when I was a kid. And my grandma, she said to me, she goes, that's an adult show, Peter. She's like, that's an adult show, Peter. She goes, Grandma can't take you to that show. And I thought there was like nudies and all that kind of stuff, but there probably was at the dinner theater, but I thought it was like nudies and stuff like that. But anyway, those friends of my grandma's, they would always come downstairs and knock on the door, and they make sure she was safe and stuff like that. But I do remember my cousin Caroline used to say, Grandma's apartment smells, and what she meant was it smelled like straight up smoke. But anyway, smoke and coffee. And we would open the door. It was like one of those deals that have like, you know, the staircase that goes to the second, like you walk in, it has the mailboxes to the left, and like the staircase right to the second floor, you know, I mean, it was nothing. And you would walk in, and it was like living room, and like it looked like what retirement homes look like sometimes now. It was like little living room, and then she had like a couch on the across with like shag carpeting, and then not the couch, floor had shag carpeting, then a little TV over here, and then her stand, and then in the corner she had I don't even know that I want to really call it, she had a dining room table, but it was really just like a round table, wooden table with like 4 chairs, and then she had this little kitchen that had those like, you know, those bar deals that you walk through. This little just kitchen, you know, stove and stuff on one side, microwave and stuff on the other, and that was it. And then in the back she had this little bedroom with 2 twin beds, and I remember my grandma or Caroline and I would sleep in one twin bed, and Grandma would sleep in the other one. She always slept in like nightgowns and a robe, and everything had all matched. My grandma, just so you want to know, she was 4'10", okay, and she got a roller set every single week. Her hair turned white when her husband died, so my mom's dad. So that means, I don't know how old she was at the time, but my mom was 4. So that, my grandma's hair turned white, supposedly, that's what they said. And then she got her nails done every single week. My grandma's nails were absolute perfection, okay? Red dagger nails, perfection, and a tight roller set. She looked 80 ever since I always knew her. So anyway, Caroline and I would lay there in bed, and I don't know why, in these stories, Caroline always sounds like she's 5 years younger than me, but she was older, and Caroline would go, Grandma snores so loud, can you hear her? I'd be like, yeah, I can hear her. Why does Grandma snore so loud? Probably because she smokes 300 packs of Salem Lights a day. My God. And then she had this like thing, I remember it was like this metal thing, and I don't know why, but like when my grandma died, that was like the one thing I wanted. I think we got the ashtray too, but was this metal rack thing that she kept all of her books in, and she kept all of her Harlequin novels. My grandma tore through it. She always had like the crossword. She loved doing the crossword. And my grandma, I was telling Caroline this the other day. Oh my God, my mother, she used to say to me, Well, you know, like, Grandma's so good with numbers. So my mom wanted me to take, like, accounting in high school. I think my mother knew I wasn't real academic. I mean, I love to read, but I love to read, but that's probably why I went to English when I was in college. I think my mom knew. She was like, you need to always take accounting, and you need to take typing, because Grandma was really good typer, and she was really good with numbers, too. And if you're good with numbers, you can always get, like, a bookkeeping job. You know, Grandma's always a bookkeeper. We don't even have any bookkeepers today, I don't think. But anyway, she was a good bookkeeper. She was good with numbers. And I told Caroline the other night at dinner, I said, first of all, I don't think that our grandma was a bookkeeper. I think she was a straight up bookie, okay? I think she was taking numbers from people. Number two, she was such a good bookkeeper that she was embezzling money from people, my God. And my mother knew that. My mother knew that and sat there and said that Grandma was a good bookkeeper. She was good with numbers. Well, of course she was good with numbers. Not that good. She got caught. Caroline was rolling. She was laughing so hard. And then I said to Caroline, I said, we were getting anyway, but I still love my grandma. She was so good. She used to always, whatever she got me, she got Caroline for Christmas and stuff like that. So, like, if I got a pottery, I always wanted way out there stuff. So, if I wanted a pottery barn, Caroline got, or a pottery wheel, Caroline got a pottery wheel. I thought I was going to be making all kinds of pots and stuff. That thing sat in the garage forever. And then if I got, like, magic tricks, Caroline got magic tricks. We always got these Valora running suits, track suits, because my grandma, you know, like all those track suits that, like, you know, Jeffree Star and all those people have. My cousin and I, we had them Adidas in every color, because my grandma worked for the athletic department, which is kind of like a finish line. But anyway, yeah, so I would stay at my grandma's house a lot because my mom was getting her master's degree, and then she would come over there and get me in the evenings, and we would go home. Or my grandma would stay at our house a lot too. My grandma hated that my mom drank. She always hated it. She would always say stuff to her about it. It was at the end and I didn't even know it. I think my grandpa probably drank a lot. He was a bartender. Caroline and I found out he was a bartender for the Thunderbird, which was one of the very first, like, bars, like, in like, really nice bars in Indianapolis. And it's in Fountain Square, and they actually reopened it. It's like this really, like, hipster bar now. Why does it keep on doing that tonight? Come on, you stupid thing. It, like, is going in and out of focus. Well, whatever. It'll come back in focus in just a second. But Caroline and I actually found his bartender's license. My mother had his wallet, and it had, like, it was listed on there. And so he bartended there. But I think my mom and my aunt's life was 10 times more tragic than they ever let on than it was. I think my grandma's was too. I'm not making excuses for stuff, but she had a tough life. I remember the stories my mom used to tell me about when she was growing up. Her mom died when my grandma's mom died when she was real young, and she had a real mean stepmom, and makes me sad my mom never felt like she could, you know, tell me, because she didn't want me to think bad about my grandma, because I feel like I would have had so many questions that I think my mom would have told me once she realized that, like, I didn't think any differently about my grandma, you know, about just, I don't know, like, did she talk to her when she was gone, and, you know, like, did they visit her, you know, where was she, how did she get through it, how long was she there, you know, on and on and on. How did my mom deal with that, how did it affect my mom, you know? Maybe I don't need to know those things today. But yeah, I remember you would open the door to my grandma's apartment building, and it never bothered me. But of course, my mother always, you know, smoked inside the house, so I probably didn't notice it. But I remember my mother, my mother's house always smelled really good. She had bowls of potpourri, and I remember she used to use this special potpourri that she would get. It was like spray potpourri, and she used the same kind forever and ever and ever. It wasn't like Glade, or it was like this special one. She got it. There was a store in Broad Ripple called the Little House, and she used to get it there, and it came like in this box. And anyway, that's what her house always smelled like. of that little apartment of my grandma's. And then, but I also remember like Caroline and I laying in bed, and my grandma lived like next to, not a highway, but like a major road, like kind of like this. And there was like her bedroom apartment window. She was on the first floor, and then there was like a field, like just a grass field, you know. This is going in and out tonight. I don't know what is wrong with it. There was like a grass field, and then there was that road. And I remember just like laying there, you know, in the bed with Caroline, my little jammies, and I just like be looking at the ceiling, and with no fan, okay, you know how I have to sleep with a fan, and I just be laying there, and all I could hear was those cars going up and down the road, and it was something real soothing about it. I still kind of like hearing cars off in the distance when I'm going to sleep at night. Something I like about that. My grandma lived in this house, and I don't know if this house was before the apartment or after the apartment. And then my grandma lived in, the last place she lived was an apartment. And I don't remember going over to that last apartment a lot. Like almost never. Like, but my grandma stayed with us a lot towards the end. And I remember the purse that she carried. Do you guys remember? Like, my grandma carried this purse. Always the same purse, like her entire life. I don't ever remember her carrying another purse. I mean, it was, okay, and it was like one of those black purses that was like square, you know what I mean? That like kind of felt folded in the middle. And then it had like the magnet thing. And then it had literally like the black, literally like just an old school, like plain purse, pleather purse, and then inside she always had her pocketbook, and she'd be like, hand grandma your pocketbook, and my mother would go crazy because we'd be in the car. My grandmother drove one of these old Chryslers or something, I mean, till forever, till she died, 410, okay, and my mom would always say, you need to drink your milk or you're gonna end up like your grandma, because she's 410 because she has osteoporosis, she used to be 5 foot high. My grandmother would say, she would say she shrunk, but she wouldn't say she shrunk 2 inches. So anyway, but my grandma would sit on phone books in the car when she drove, and it was, I don't know if anybody remembers it, but it was these cars that were one seat, okay, like one seat all the way across, and it had this huge steering wheel, and it had this thing that when you turned, like the turn signal was like tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, and all this kind of, it had the turn dials. My grandma drove the same car forever, and so we'd be like going somewhere, you know, and like we'd get there, and she wore these big wing glasses and stuff like that, and my grandma used to smoke in the grocery store. I am not kidding you. I remember going to the grocery store. I asked Caroline if she remembered this the other day. She's like, how do you remember this stuff? Caroline and Grandma and I were in the grocery store one time, and my grandma, of course, she's like, you know, so she'll hulking over this, holding onto this thing, smoking a cigarette in the grocery store. I mean, back in the day, people smoked everywhere. And this woman was like, ugh, disgusting, smoking in the grocery store. My grandma was like, well, I just mind. I mean, you know, she was a trip. Oh, but my grandma would say, Peter, get grandma's pocketbook out of her purse for her. Your pocketbook, you know, like a big one with your checkbooks and your credit, huge, okay? You know what I mean? My grandma had that inside this huge purse that she carried with her everywhere. And always, anyway. So my grandma would say, Peter, get grandma's pocketbook out of her purse, and I would go to get it, and my mother would go crazy, and she'd say, you never get in a woman's purse. I don't care. Grandma asked me, I don't care. You never get in a woman's purse, period. That was like rule number 1, okay? Never do you get in a woman's purse. Rule number 2, you always put your napkin in your lap unless you get up to go to the bathroom, and if you're coming back, you put the napkin on the chair, back on your lap when you come back, on your plate when you're ready to go. You always let people come in, or you always go out of an elevator before you walk into an elevator. You always open the door for somebody if they're coming out, then you walk inside. My mother was so weird with manners, you guys, okay? Where forks and stuff were on a plate, my mother was so weird about that kind of stuff. You take a slab of butter, you put it on the bread plate, you then take the butter from the bread plate and put it on the bread. Oh, that was the thing I was gonna say earlier, okay? My grandma, she would make fried chicken. My mom, I don't know why my mom cared about, I don't know where she got it. My Aunt Kathy was the same way. My Aunt Kathy used to say to me, because I'm so bad at writing thank you notes, you guys. I always have been. And my Aunt Kathy used to say to me, she called me, I mean, this is when I was like 35, right? And she'd say, Peter, no more, if I don't get a thank you note, no more presents for Christmas and birthdays, because I don't know if you received it. I'm like, Aunt Kathy, oh, you were sitting right there when I opened the present, and I said thank you profusely, okay? So anyway, but she and my mom were so weird. Like, I mean, literally they're writing out the thank you note as they got the present. So, I mean, they were good about it. But, I don't know where my mom and my aunt were, like, so weird about manners. Maybe it was because, like, you know, to hide a little bit of where that they grew up so poor that they thought, like, people wouldn't know. I don't know. My mom never really cared. Like, my mom never hid the fact that she grew up poor. Like, she would talk about it all the time. Now, my aunt, I don't remember my aunt talking about it a whole, why is that truck going so slow by me? I don't really remember my aunt talking about it a lot. At the end of her life, the last, I'd say 5 years, my aunt really wanted me to work with her on writing a book about my grandma's life and her life and things. I don't know what she wanted me to write about. She never really told me. So, but about like where she came from and things like that. And she thought it was kind of an interesting story, you know, that like they really, really struggled, you know, they were so poor growing up. And I don't know, like, you know, my aunt would always insinuate things that things were so much worse than they were. I don't know. I really, now Carolina, I don't really know any of it, you know. But, what was I gonna say? I don't remember what I was gonna say. Oh, so my grandma, she would cook. My grandma could cook like nobody's business. I mean, my aunt was a great cook. My grandma was a great cook. My mom, she could cook, but she couldn't bake. My mom couldn't bake, but she could cook. So anyway, my grandma, she, I don't know why, and I don't know why this was like the one thing that she would do that grossed me out that I didn't like. But she would make like fried chicken, chicken pot pie. She made all kinds of things. I mean, you know, just, she was a really good, like, basic, you know, oh, pot roast. She made pot roast, like, all the time. Meatloaf, and she, just all of it good. But I remember she would always, like, and she would say I had to eat it. Because, like, my grandma was really weird about, like, if it was on your plate, you had to eat it. So she would take a piece of bread, but it wasn't toasted. Like, I'm kind of weird about butter on bread that's not toasted. Like a roll, I can do it, but like just a piece of white bread. My grandma would put a piece of white bread, and then she would like butter it for me, and I wouldn't eat it. So she put sugar on it too, and I hated it. It was like bread that wasn't toasted with butter and sugar on it, and I hated it. And I remember I would always like, I'd be like, Grandma, I don't want to eat it. And she'd be like, Peter, she was like, you need to eat your bread too. And so then I would eat it, because my grandma told me I had to, but I didn't really want to. I haven't been to the post office. Somebody asked me today in the message if I have. So I'm going to run into the post office really quick, so I've been here. I mean, I've been here but to mail stuff out, but I haven't gone in to check my mailbox in a couple days. Sometimes stuff, I don't know what it is about this post office, but sometimes like stuff when it gets here, like if people say it's supposed to be there Friday, and I go check Friday and Saturday, it doesn't actually come in here till Monday. I don't know if they like hold it and then they sort it later or what they do, but sometimes it takes a little bit later. It takes a little bit longer. So, all right, I'm gonna go in here and check, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. First of all, let me just tell you, okay? So I got several packages. Samantha, they're in the back. I want to open them and show them on here sometime. I have little treats in here I'm going to show you in a second. But Samantha Louise, oh my God, Samantha, she sent me a birthday present, a belated birthday present, and she also sent us an anniversary present, because our anniversary is this month, and that's why we're going to Las Vegas. So thank you, Samantha Louise, and I'm gonna open that. I kind of like opened them a little bit, and then I was like, oh, no, this is cool, too cool, so I wanna show it in my vlog tomorrow, and I also wanna show it to Alex first. And then I got my new candles from the Poorhouse Candle Company, my new candle that is coming out, and you guys, I started getting a little teary-eyed when I opened it, and I don't even know how to say this, but she is absolutely such perfection to work with. She just is so cool. And she kind of suggested an idea to me, and I was like, you know what? I love this idea. Let's just run with it. Let's do it. So we did, and I love the smell. I love the scent. It's perfect. And I'm so excited about it. The picture on the front is absolutely adorable. And so I'm really, really excited. Okay, and then Delia. Oh, and Poorhouse Candle Company. She sent me a bunch of other candle waxes and stuff. Delia sent me an entire box of all of these lotions and lip scrubs and stuff. I'm gonna show those tomorrow too. But I have to show you. Are you ready? Do not be jealous, okay? These were in there. I dug these out. 4 new humongous chapsticks that she got from the Etsy store. She got me pomegranate. Delia, I love you. You're the Dealio. And then she got me Tupelo Honey. That's the one I grabbed first. I was like, oh my gosh, she got me more lippies. I'm so excited about that one, Tupelo Honey. And then she got me a Jelly Bean. Hey, Jelly Bean. And it's got jelly beans on it. And then she got me Buttercream Vanilla. Oh, that sounds good. So I'm real excited about these. Now, I remember when I was at home the other day, I had to kind of like, it was hard to peel this thing off. So I'm gonna do the honey one, and then the others I'm gonna do at home. And I'll show them on there as well. It says twist your cap, but like when I did that the other day, it wouldn't work. I had to like peel it down and then take it off when I opened the other ones. You guys, these are fantastic. There it goes. I just know these are gonna smell so, they are so fantastic. These are like the best chapsticks in the world. There it is, Tupelo Honey. Thank you, Delia. I'm excited to see what the other products are too. Okay, you got, it literally smells like opening a jar of honey. I mean, not just like honey scented, like Burt's Bees, like it literally smells like a jar of honey. It tastes like it too. But I truly do. You guys, I mean, I'm not even lying to you. This just came from my beard. Do you see it? I mean, this is not even a joke. Hold on. There's literally a hair. It's like, do you see my... There really was a hair on my lip from my hat. So good. Well, should I try to open the rest of them? I don't know what made me talk all about my grandma tonight. I don't even know what I was thinking about her. Caroline, I don't really talk about her a whole lot. Caroline doesn't remember much of her. I mean, she remembers her, but she doesn't remember these stories like this. I mean, if I said to her, do you remember Grandma smoking? She'd be like, yeah, she smoked like a chimney. But if I said to her, like, do you remember Grandma, like, her car? She would say, yeah. And I would say, if you remember Grandma's... Like, okay, like, Alex and I were talking about this the other day. I can't... There must be, like, one area to go down on. Here it is. Like, in some movie or show that we were watching the other day, they have, like, one of those little, like, hard case suitcases, you know, like, that are hard, and then you would open it and have the mirror inside, and I said, my grandma, that's what she would bring over to our house, and she would have her nightgown and slippers in there, and, then she would have a big spoon, I mean, like a big kitchen spoon, tablespoon, for her cough medicine, because she had a horrible cough from smoking. Okay, this is the Buttercream Delight. Buttercream Vanilla, but I'm gonna call it the Buttercream Delight. It smells straight up like buttercream cake, is what it smells like. That is really good. I don't know which one's my favorite of those two. I like them both. Here, I guess I can put my watch back in there, you know? My sunglasses case. Well, I might as well open them all. Let's do the Jelly Bean. My grandma was always so good to Caroline and I. I was so upset when she passed. What did I do here? This is gonna drive me crazy. It's like, I don't like price tags on books. And I got it off, but like, do you see like there's a little bit that goes over, and I'm gonna wanna get that off or it's gonna drive me crazy. Oh, that's how you do it. You pull it out like, I can already smell it. Oh my God, do you know what that smells like? Okay, I was thinking it was gonna smell like Jelly Bellies or some kind of like, it literally smells like old school, like when you bite in to jelly beans at the bottom of an Easter basket. Do you know what I'm talking about? It smells stronger when you put it on than when you just smell it. It smells like that plasticky kind of, that is good. I like that one. I want this off there though, this. How do I get that off? I don't want to unravel the whole thing. Okay, I'll just leave it like that. Delia, this was fantastic. Pomegranate, okay. And Samantha, thank you so much. But your presents, they're like, they're special, you know, and I know you know that, so I want to show them on here. I mean, not that these aren't special, but I'm like, I can show these right now in the car. I don't want to just like open a present and be like, oh, here it is. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I also want to show the rest of Delia's stuff at home tomorrow when I can actually sit in the kitchen and show it. I don't know if I can show you my candle yet or not. I think she wanted me to try it to approve it, but like I literally opened it and was like, I approve. This is fantastic. Oh, that smells good. Oh, that is good. It's so weird because, like, you know, I would think like pomegranate and huckleberry I wouldn't like. And those are actually two of my favorites. I have so many of these now in my fanny pack. Oh, that is good. I think my favorites out of all of them are the strawberry banana, because it's straight up, it's like sweet tarts, which is really weird because I don't love sweet tarts. And I love the Tupelo honey. The Tupelo honey is really good, and the huckleberry. I can't leave these in the car because if I leave them in the car, they'll melt. So I gotta put them in the box and back. Hold on a second. And thank you for the cute little postcard too, Delia. I'll show it tomorrow. Diddlio, diddlio. Well, I think I'm actually going to get off here because I want to listen to my audiobook. I might be able to finish it tonight if I can get into the rest of it. I'm actually listening to Settle for a Slowdown by Dierks Bentley because Tanya and I were listening to that. We were jamming out. You guys love country music. I love country music. But anyway, I hope you guys are having an amazing Sunday, unless you have other plans. But don't have other plans. It's my favorite day of this week. Make the most of it. Netflix and chill. Eat something good. Have a grilled cheese. Go out to brunch. Go out to dinner. See a late movie. Do something really fun. Do something really exciting. I don't know. Start a new show on Netflix or something like that. Or go back and watch all of my old vlogs like it's a Netflix show. That's what you should probably do. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you pass it on to somebody else. It's the most important part. Make sure that you look in the mirror every single day and that you say, I love you, and that you believe it inside. And I thought I would have my sunglasses on for a second. And that you really believe it and you tell yourself good things about yourself. And that we work on our self-concept and our confidence. And that today you are a person of character. Hold your head up high. And I love you. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.